To me, I would go right back to now. We don't know the health for sure of Brock Purdy, which makes the beginning of training camp all the more intriguing, and that is the ultimate question that needs to be answered, because everybody beyond that is a little bit of a projection. If you have Sam Darnold as a starting quarterback, he's a first year guy with the Niners. He's had just not a whole lot of success in the NFL. If Trey Lance is the number one guy, it's it's a projection because it's based on the traits that Trey has and the growth that he's made since entering the league. But if the Niners are getting the Brock Purdy that they saw last year, the interview that I think I would point to would be the Alex Smith interview with Matt Mayoko, where Smith basically was glowing about both Lance and Purdy, and he basically said that the key word I thought that really kind of turned my head was sustainability. He described Brock's success as not just impressive but sustainable. And I think that has been the primary. I've tried to crystallize, as we've talked about this quarterback question over and over during the offseason, the people that are pushing back on the 49ers or Brock Purdy individually, what they're really arguing using a lot of different verbiage to make their argument, they're arguing that it's not sustainable. That, yeah, he had success. Yeah, he went undefeated. Yeah, he won every game that he started and finished. He was the first quarterback or the third quarterback in like 50 years to win rookie quarterback to win 2 playoff games. But the argument is clearly that there are a lot of people out there that don't believe it's sustainable. And Smith, I thought, had the greatest line. He's like, look, a lot of these traits are kind of overrated. Arm strength, 40 time. It really comes down to processing, accuracy, and timing. And he thinks that Brock has those 3 traits and that it wasn't accidental, and that the success that he had last year was not only impressive, but that it's sustainable. And I agree with him. I really do. And for that reason, I think if you really believe that Purdy's success is sustainable, you can't argue that the Niners are overrated.
I agree. And I agree with Alex Smith's assessment. I do believe that it's sustainable as long as he's healthy, fully healthy, and physically and mentally. I think it's completely sustainable. In part because we know what he can do. I don't think he's going to regress. One of the biggest things that people talk about is that the film is out there on him now. I push back on that one because I don't care if there's film out there because he's got Kyle Shanahan calling the plays, and Kyle Shanahan's one of the best play callers in the NFL today. So I don't have a problem with that either. And then you add in what the 49ers roster looks like. They have 6 guys that are in the top 50 in the NFL right now: Trent Williams, Deebo Samuel, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle. Those guys all help him out too, right? And you're talking about Alex Smith. I think the one that I really liked. I liked Alex Smith. That's why I wrote about it, what he had to say. But I was listening to Steve Young yesterday, and what Steve Young said was just he took it another level, right? Because he came out, and Steve Young is a guy who's really smart. He doesn't say things without knowing what he's saying,
right?
And he said he came out and he said, you talk about the culture. That's what the 49ers have: the innovative offense, the play calling, the talent. It all comes together. And then when it comes to Brock Purdy, he says it's easy to say last pick in the draft at his size, arm strength, and everything else. There's limitations when talking about Brock Purdy. I don't think you should speak that way because I think he's the kind of guy who's going to make you look like a dummy. And we've seen a lot of this offseason. A lot of people pushing back because of his lack of size, the fact that he's not the biggest, not the strongest, not the fastest. And my whole thing is I don't really give a rip about any of those things because we just saw him do it on the field. It's not like all of a sudden teams are going to shut him down. We've heard this for years in San Francisco since 2017 with Jimmy Garoppolo. And even with Garoppolo's limitations, they were still able to move the ball. They were still able to put up nearly 30 points a game back in 2019. So if Brock Purdy's fully healthy, if he's the guy that he was last season, give him some experience on top of that, I think the 49ers are fine.